Hello everyone, my name is Sophie Drozda and today I am pleased to talk to you about a topic that is often misunderstood in mainstream media, medical marijuana. Now unfortunately, when most people think of marijuana, they associate it with dangerous drugs. There is a stigma associated with the substance and this comes from not thoroughly understanding what medical marijuana actually is. The cannabis plant contains many different cannabinoids, but the two most commonly talked about, shall we say, are THC and CBD. Now, THC is a psychoactive compound in cannabis, and this induces psychoactive effects, including euphoria. THC is a main compound in cannabis that is used recreationally. CBD is a cannabinoid, is completely different and is not psychoactive. In fact, it's known all over the world for many benefits, including pain, relief and reducing inflammation, from helping with mental illnesses like depression, anxiety and PTSD, to reducing pain in severe diseases like cancer and being used as a treatment for seizures and epilepsy. CBD has improved many lives. Now, there is a growing scientific data backing the health benefits of CBD, with research being conducted to look at CBD's neuroprotective properties to help with those with Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and more. Now, while medical marijuana has many different uses and has been helpful to so many, I have to say that it has affected me personally. After my first pregnancy, I needed pain relief and I didn't want to turn to traditional painkillers, and CBD was an alternative that I carefully considered. I did a lot of research and then I used it. Now, it had made a massive difference and helped me with the pain relief during a sensitive time in my life, really. Now, however, one of the reasons I felt so safe taking CBD this pivotal time was because of the safety methods in place. As a new mother, I had to ensure I wasn't coming into contact with anything that would cause harm to my baby. Thorough testing and having faith in the brands I used was a key factor in me being comfortable enough to use CBD as a natural alternative to powerful painkillers, you know. The UK has strict laws around THC content in CBD. It cannot be any higher than 0.2%. However, these rules haven't always been followed. The largest and most comprehensive analysis of CBD products in the UK was conducted by the Centre for Medical Cannabis, CMC, in 2019. This was an eye-opening study that illustrated the need for stricter regulation in the United Kingdom. Now, the people who conducted the study tested 30 different CBD oil products. These were from in-store retailers and online retailers for a good mix of products and were tested for everything, including CBD content and whether they were other substances present in the oil. Now, to my surprise, and probably yours as well, only 38% of the products were within 10% of the CBD content advertised on the bottle. And what's even worse is that the issues didn't stop with the CBD content. 45% of the products contained more THC than the legal limit and had other substances including ethanol, arsenic and even lead. Yes, lead. And that's why the Food Standards Agency, the FSA's decision to regulate CBD as a novel food is monumental. Today, I'm going to tell you about this decision, what it means, how it impacts the industry, and how you can go about completing your novel food application. Both the European Food Safety Authority and the UK Food Standards Agency have declared a CBD as novel food. Now, what this means is that there wasn't enough evidence to prove that CBD was used to a significant degree by those in the EU and the UK prior to the 15th of May 1997. Because it's a novel food, CBD requires pre-market authorization and cannot be sold in Europe or in the UK without prior approval. This safety assessment is important to protect consumers from harmful products, mislabeling and more. Now, before the novel food application came into play, there was no clear law to follow when it came to CBD testing. Companies cut corners in order to become more competitive and forgo important regulatory steps like testing. This has resulted in subpar and often dangerous products. As evidenced by the Centre for Medical Cannabis study, even with labelling, only the CBD content in a product was mandatory to display. With other tests not required, standards were not upheld, and unethical businesses took advantage of these lax rules. Now, the novel food application has changed all of this and has set up a guide for the cannabis industry in the UK. Medical cannabis is one of the largest markets in the UK right now, with the cannabinoids expected to generate approximately 690 million in sales this year alone. The CBD market is larger than that for vitamin C and D combined, and is expected to reach 1 billion by 2025. Now, with the market set to increase significantly, it's more important than ever to ensure products live up to the claims and are safe to use. Now, safety is by far the most important reason all CBD products must be regularly tested. Toxic ingredients and presence of heavy metals and other contaminations can result in, massive side effects and negative health consequences. This is especially troubling when you consider CBD is taken to help relieve pain and is sometimes used to treat children, the elderly and those suffering from serious diseases like cancer. Now, additionally, while safety necessitates it's not the only reason to prioritise third-party independent testing. Now, testing also ensures that the CBD level in products is adequate and the THC amount is limited to the legal quantity. Now, legality is a large part of testing, because although CBD is legal in the UK, THC is not. Now, testing from a reliable lab must confirm that the THC amount on CBD products is well within the legal limit of 0.2%. If there's more than 0.2% of THC in any of these products, they are no longer legal, and both buyers and sellers can be prosecuted under the law. Furthermore, incidences reveal mislabeling have a negative impact on consumers and their trust in CBD products. Now, declining confidence in CBD products can directly affect demand and sales. Testing and accurately labelling products promote trust in consumers and will allow the CBD market to absolutely flourish. Now that I've emphasised the importance of the legalisation and testing, let's move on to the UK regulations. Since CBD is a novel food and all CBD products have to be approved before being sold, any company that wants to sell CBD in the European market or the UK market has to submit a food application, a novel food application. Unfortunately, this is complicated, time-consuming and costly process, and many companies get discouraged when hearing it. Because of the procedure is complex, many don't even have the access to knowledge required to start the actual process itself. At IFS Laboratories, we believe that regulation should be made accessible to everyone, and that all companies should know how to go about submitting their novel foods application. And we can break down the process down into 5 distinct stages. The application process requires detailed product information. Since public information is not enough to obtain authorization, companies have to provide informative, specific to the product, including detailed testing results. The first stage of that is gathering data. This includes both testing and non-testing data. Now, the non-testing data includes all administrative data, including details about your product and you, the application. Testing data, on the other hand, refers to the production history. So the production process, how the product is intended to use, usage levels, intake levels, and more. A large part of this data comes from the CBD tests from an independent third-party laboratory like IFS Laboratories. Now, in addition to the compositional data, nutritional information and data on allergens and stability, you will need tests on CBD exposure and usage, full chemical analysis, product manufacturing data for a minimum of 5 batches, and then absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, and more. You must always include references, risk assessment and mitigation plans, a glossary of terms that you have used throughout the application process, scientific data, opinion by different regulatory bodies, and laboratory accreditation. You can then move on to the second step, which is submitting the dossier along with application form. The application process is quite lengthy, with the evaluation steps sometimes taking more than 9 months. During this time, the Food Standards Agency will go through your dossier and evaluate your application and all the supplemented information that you have actually submitted. And then if they are satisfied with what you have provided, you can move on to the next stage, which is the FSA questions. You're about product safety and effectiveness. Once you answer all these questions and the FSA satisfaction, you will be approved and your product will finally have a pre-market authorization. What discourages most people from going through this entire process is how costly, how time-consuming it can be. Now, it can sometimes take up to 2 years to get full approval. This process was much easier for products that were already on the market prior to the 30th of February 2020, since they could submit their dossiers by 31st of March 2021 and remain on the market until judgments came through. Now, for those just entering the market, the process is significantly more difficult and will require more time. However, this is essential for safety and the trust in the CBD market. Additionally, while the novel food application is a complex one, it can be completed with the right help. Now, at IFS Laboratories, we can provide you that help and to anyone who is struggling with the novel food application. Now, since so much of the application is focused on testing data, it's absolutely necessary to have a reliable testing facility you can depend on. Now, IFS Laboratories is UCAS accredited and has experience in all types of CBD testing, making it the perfect partner. Because we are UCAS accredited, you've got that accountability and you've got a traceability absolutely ensured, basically. So our expertise in CBD means that you won't have to revise your application or have an application rejected because of incomplete information. Now, so many NFAs are passed over because they haven't followed all the guidelines for the testing required by the FSA. IFS Laboratories' extensive experience in testing CBD products and the novel food application allows us to advise you on what to test for, including which tests are mandatory and which ones you should avoid. Now, additionally, we're an independent testing lab, so there's no conflict of interest when it comes to manufacturing. As a neutral third party that is well versed in the CBD testing sphere, we're your guide to industry and the regulations required to enter it. Now, since we're a family-run business, we have an open door policy, and we welcome all applicants and strive to help others break into this very competitive and lucrative industry. Now, I have been working at IFS Laboratories for over 12 years now, and the high standard we have set is one of the reasons I was so comfortable using CBD for pain relief after giving birth. Now, medical marijuana, like all other medicine, must be tested and regulated, so it is safe for all, and it should be accessible for all too. IFS Laboratories is proud to offer our services to help regulate this field and ensuring its steady growth in the UK and throughout the world. Now, the latest news from the Food Standards Agency on the application progress for including CBD products in the UK novel food catalogue has made most, if not all, entities worried in the industry a little bit. As you may already know, FSA is the government department responsible for the food safety policy in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. It provides guidance to ensure consistency in the enforcement of novel foods regulation. So the FSA received over 803 novel food applications since January the 1st, 2021. 317 applications were passed on to the next stage, with 4 having progressed through the validation stage onto the phase of authorisation. How many outstanding applications does this leave behind? That's 486. Out of 486 applications, 40 were withdrawn, as reported by the FSA. But what about the 445? Unfortunately, the situation does not look promising. The FSA has classified these applications as incomplete. Now, it claims that the applicants were given 7 days for uploading the requested information. They were also told that the applicants will not progress any further until they get back to the FSA with the missing information. Despite this, the applications were never completed. Now, what does this imply? It is clear that most of the applicants did not take the process maybe seriously enough to make the efforts, or were intimidated by the time-consuming process involving heaps of work, data collection related to the wide array of topics. The first instalment of the public list released by the FSA was published in April. Now, the list has the names of 4 bulk ingredient suppliers with approximately 43 products linked to the validated applications. 4 brands with CBD products that do not make it to the public list, the FSA and trading standards may take enforcement action. The novel foods process is critical to prevent the companies who have made no effort to align with any regulations from selling CBD products. The 3 stages of securing a novel food permit include the administrative check. This ensures that all required documentation is in place. Number 2 is a validation. Now, this ensures that the submitted documents match the requirements. And finally, authorization. That being said, I would like to stress that the demand for free access to CBD for everyone across the world is on the rise. Now, in the UK, we have stringent measures in place to ensure the market's safety, unity and efficiency for selling the CBD. Now, IFS Laboratories is excited to continue the push for free CBD access to all, helping you ace the novel foods application. Now, we understand that novel food application needs to be detailed as possible. It should provide all the necessary information about the novel food. This includes compositional as well as stability details. The application should also explain the proposed end use of the product. Now, the EU Commission gives the green light to those doses that are all detailed and consistent as possible from both regulatory and scientific points of view. All in all, it is important to demonstrate through the novel foods application that the new ingredient is safe for use. B, the consumer will not be misled. I would also like to highlight here that the EU Commission, under the European Food Safety Authority's advice, will examine whether an ingredient has close similarities to another regular ingredient, which is possibly less interesting from a nutritional perspective. So basically, right from the growth of plants to consumption, applicants are supposed to cover the whole process. At the same time, they need to have an appropriate risk mitigation plan in place. And brands are well aware that the novel food process is costly and time consuming. From the time they submit to an application, they have to wait approximately 2 years to be granted the final approval. More often than not, the ingredient manufacturer is a novel food applicant. Now, however, there is no hard and fast rule about it. According to the novel food legislation, anyone can apply for authorisation. It is the circumstances and the business itself that usually decides the applicant. The reason why we generally see the ingredient manufacturer applying for novel food authorisation is that they are the ones with complete access to all the necessary product information. It is crucial for CBD brands to consider issues like stability and bioavailability, and they must understand how to stream formulation and processing may impact these as well. Another important point is that a validated novel food application can cover several finished products as long as they are made with the same CBD ingredient that holds a novel food permit. This is why the validated novel food application has to have a list of intended uses for a finished product. Now, the stability of the ingredient in the finished product that is covered in the novel food application should be evaluated. An application dossier for a product should address the bioavailability of the validated novel food application ingredient associated with its intended use and predicted consumption as obtained from a government specified database. Do you see why this is important? Different formulation and production methods can impact the absorption or bioavailability of the CBD ingredient in different ways. Not only this, but the purity profile can also vary significantly. Now, even the processing itself is an important consideration. For example, a cold versus hot process can very well affect the substances and risks of a product. This area needs to be explored. I would also like to clarify that if the main elements or the compositions of an already authorised ingredient undergoes a drastic modification process, a new authorisation will be required. Now, for many manufacturers, the challenge lies in compiling the complicated data required for the novel food application within the specific time frame. Typically, you get the full toxicology assessment takes 8 to 9 months. The last month is required to prepare the data report. Next, the stability assessment takes more than 6 months. Then approximately 5 months are spent manufacturing a minimum of 5 batches of the product. Each batch is manufactured separately and then individually tested. The total ADME assessment takes 2 to 3 months. 6 to 7 weeks are then spent on genotoxicology studies. The next 2 to 3 weeks are spent collecting detailed information on typical CBD exposure and usage. After that, the applicant spends 2 to 3 weeks working on risk assessment and mitigation plans. The last 2 to 3 weeks are dedicated to administration submission of any additional supporting data. That being said, I would like to stress that the quality of the dossier and the information provided significantly affects the time required for the assessment and the authorisation. Now, as far as the cost of the novel food application is concerned, there is no fee payable to the application itself. However, companies have to pay significant amounts in testing and reports. Generally, a company will have to pay as little as $20,000 for a product that uses raw materials with a validated novel food application. On the contrary, the cost may go up to $350,000 for a complex product that requires a full application. Now, at IFS Laboratories, we boast over 25 years of experience in laboratory testing. Now, we take pride in providing reliable and efficient services to all our clients. As a forward-thinking company, we strive to expand our testing scope of accreditation into new markets, ensuring bigger and better services for you, our clients. And secondly, we promise to continue demonstrating our competence and judgment on the importance of product safety and the assurance of quality. Now, lastly, we aim to empower, support and develop our employees to ensure that they maintain the high standards of technical and obviously customer service support as well. Most importantly, our team is committed to providing efficient, accurate and timely testing services that meet requirements and exceed expectations. Now, anyone struggling with the novel food application process can rely on us for expert assistance, guidance and support to meet the regulatory needs. We strongly believe that the new regulatory requirements will help lay a solid foundation for a safe, legally compliant and sustainable CBD market with growth into uses of the cannabinoids, all of the cannabinoids. The idea is to ensure that the customer can purchase CBD products confidently with no concerns or doubts whatsoever. And they will know that all the products on the market have been rigorously tested for safety and sustainability, and they have the validated novel food application.